Prostitute known as Pretty Ho charged with sex trafficking. This is according to the New York Post. It says, a Los Angeles prostitute known as Pretty Ho on social media has been charged with sex trafficking. Federal prosecutors said Melanie Danae Williams was charged Tuesday with trafficking minors for sex and using force or fraud to coerce an adult into prostitution. The indictment also names her as Pretty Ho. Prosecutor says Williams ordered a hooker she recruited through social media to strip and threw bleach on her and beat her with a broomstick. Court paper says the 22-year-old was sentenced to 3 months in jail last year for prostitution. She's being held in custody. A lawyer for Williams refused to comment on the case. Williams refers to herself on social media as the most hated hoe in L.A. She could face up to life in prison if convicted. Now, I'm assuming if you're already on this, then you are pretty familiar with who the Pretty Ho is and her best friend, the Fine Ho. If you are not, the Pretty Ho is known on social media for being a hoe. She basically is a prostitute who posts online of, like, when she's with a John having sex, or I've seen her shoot at people, finger herself with a gun. She does a lot of outrageous, crazy ass shit online, and that's what, for the most part, what we all follow her for. However, she was able to make a big name and fan base for herself just off prostituting alone and basically just recording the wild things that she would do. Last year, she had went to jail, her and her best friend, the Fine Ho, and they both were released. And when she was released, the Pretty Ho said that she would no longer sell her ass and that she was now legit. And she began basically doing like shows and promotions and hosting, and she also shortly after started pimping herself. She was no longer hoeing. She had hoes herself, and she would post online when she took them to dates and all kind of shit. Now, I'm not sure how she was arrested, if the prostitute had told on her that they said that she threw this bleach on and beat, or I wouldn't be surprised if she was caught from just posting on social media. That's what she does. And this is really not so much about the Pretty Ho. I just wanted to mention that because that had brought along feelings and emotions that I feel as far as a lot of shit that I have been seeing, and I wanted to make a public statement about. I have a lot of people on my social media. Now, I don't want to say who's pimping and who's not pimping because, quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. But I do have a problem with how big social media has really turned a lot of people into something that they're not, and doing a lot of stupid shit like posting all of their business. I have people I know online that, like the Pretty Ho, posts things that are illegal online. They are throwing football yards for sex trafficking now. She's looking up to 55 years. That's like murder charges. And people continue to think that it's cool to post online that they pimping, or to recruit, looking for women online, and to post when they took their hoe on a date and stuff like that. And I've really felt like social media has gotten to a lot of people's heads that they don't really even care so much about getting money. It's more so about a competition in a talent show. And people are using this platform to impress other people who don't care. Like, how many of us know who the Pretty Ho is and follow her online and think she's very entertaining to watch? But she doesn't have any bail. But we're not going outside the LA courthouse with no free Pretty Ho signs. We're not boycotting for the Pretty Ho to be released. That was all cool to watch on social media because it was entertaining. And truth be told, there will be another Pretty Ho, and there will be another you, and you're fake pimping, and you guys are continuously boasting online about pimping, and that's lame as fuck. It's lame, especially when now these days, and in California, I can't speak for no other states, but I know in California and in Oregon that they look at the women as victims. So let's say you have a hoe and she's been hoeing for you and it's been consensual. The minute she gets busted, if she's looking at doing time, she can plead like as if she was being sex trafficked and do minimum maybe a year, 2 years, and you will go to jail for sex trafficking her, whether it was consensual or not, because that is looked upon as like, damn near looked upon like in the judge in the courtroom's eyes as like kidnapping and like raping somebody and like, you know, like doing bodily harm to somebody, because they have kids and they don't want their kids thinking, oh, it's cool to do this and do that because the pretty hoe online has this X amount of followers and she's popping and stuff. So when you're known like that, that popularity shit go out the window in court. Because you're known, okay, she has a big fan base, we're going to make an example out of her. Because hoeing has gotten so mainstream, I would say. Well, no, it's always been around. Has been selling for decades, but they're not playing no more. Hoes used to be able to get a ticket or go to jail, and they would be back out on the corner the next morning. That shit ain't going like that no more. And I don't know what happens with pimps, but like I said, this is not the first case I've heard of somebody looking at this amount of time for sex trafficking. And I just really hope that you guys look at this as like, and I say you guys, I'm talking to the pimps, the wannabe pimps. I hope you guys really just cut this shit out and find a new source of income, a new hobby. Because when that judge says no bail, there ain't nothing that the people that you've been trying to impress on social media could do for you, but we're going to share and talk about your charges like we're doing now, and then you're just going to be your whole life washed away behind what? Because it don't matter how much money you make when the judge says no bail. So anyways, I don't know how much time she's going to end up doing. I will be following the case. Whether or not I decide to speak on it again is probably a negative. I just really wanted to just shed some light, in my opinion, on this whole new trending thing with what shall we call this? This new trending thing of monkey see, monkey do ass niggas. Now moving right along. In other news, we have Usher separating from his wife of 2 years. The reason why I wanted to talk about this topic was because this is Usher's second marriage. We all know that Usher was just in the headlines for having being allegedly convicted, I guess you could say, of giving herpes to women and selling out of court for millions of dollars. I guess this happened back in 2012. Supposedly the woman that he gave herpes to was a bridesmaid at his wedding with his first wife, and they settled out of court, which I would think that if he settled out of court, that meant it was true. But when these news came out about Usher, it just kind of like turned into mainstream news, because everybody was coming out the woodworks and saying that, hey, I slept with Usher, he gave me herpes, and I'm suing him too. It was even a man. It was this it was crazy. So anyways, this is Usher and his wife. She has been, can y'all see? Let's see what they're saying on the U.S. Weekly. Usher and wife Grace Miguel split after 2 years of marriage. Usher Raymond and his wife Grace Miguel have called it quits after 2 years of marriage and nearly 10 years together. They have released a statement together that I don't really care to read out loud. You know, they usually just, they don't even say, those people really don't even say that shit. That's just their lawyers coming up with something nice to say to the media and all nosy asses. But I did find it kind of the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I was actually on Usher's side during this whole herpes scandal. I really thought it was jacked up how his name had just went through the mud in like less than a week. It was the thing that sucks about when people come forward with these kind of rumors, people never really follow up on it. And so it's kind of like the name is just tarnished without any real proof. And I actually am a fan of Usher, so I do think that is jacked up. However, I think that with him divorcing, it kind of adds to the speculation that maybe these rumors are possibly true. Usher, if these rumors are not true, I wish you would just dead them for good and continue to make music, because I think you're a good guy, you know. And why do you think they're separated? Why do you guys think that Grace want to leave? Is this just too much going on too soon into the marriage? Do you think that she found out maybe he possibly has done this, and this is not something that he has came clean and told her, and she found out right along with everybody else in regards to his health? Why do you guys think they're separating? Drop down below in the comment section.